Hey guys, got a little bit of an impromptu live stream here, but I've got Prometheo and JJ and Doom and Clarence on, yeah.
What's up?
What's up? What's up? Got these guys on Discord, so doing a little bit of Relic forging, kind of a deep dive into some of the misinformation that's going on around Relic forging. So, and Jim is there. So, JJ, Prometheo, one of you guys, can you guys drop a link to the stream and band and places like that? And
you got it, my man.
All right, cool. And we got Fury's there. If you guys will hang on just one moment, I will actually bring up YouTube on my computer so I can check the chat while we're going. So what we're looking at, guys, here is we're going to be looking at this. We're going to be looking at some Relic forging stuff, and as you guys, I've been working on this guy here. I've been working on my Norse talisman. So, all right, hang on. My channel, Creator Studio, and it says, my thumbnail that still is the old thumbnail, but and let's go live streaming. And here we go. Now let's pop out the chat. Zalon's here. Hey, Zalon, what's up, man? All right, so now I got the chat open here. All right, cool. All right, so Prometheo, do you want to? What's up, Michael Marlowe? Welcome. Do you want to kind of tell us what drove you to develop this Relic forging calculator and why it's so interesting to those?
Yeah. So. Thanks, Bo. I'll just give folks just a very high-level view of it. So everyone's familiar with the pain of failure after failure when you're trying to level up a 4-star. And, lots of people have these theories about what works, what doesn't. So I went out on the internet, and I was like, you know what? This is basically a game of flipping coins with a low chance. So let's figure out what say about how often we should get things leveled. So I built out a spreadsheet, and we've taken a look at that, and in some ways it's depressing because it does take a hell of a lot of stuff to level up a 4-star, but it's also good to have the numbers so that you can rely on them. So we've talked about them, and I think we can just go into some of your insights that you've seen from the spreadsheet.
All right, and of course we have JJ. And of course we have JJ on here because he is the resident spreadsheet guru. And as you guys can see there, I just did 2 forges. I had 1 success and 1 failure at a very low percent chance. So what I want to do here is I want to talk about this percent chance. And when we talk about percent chance, what we're talking about, guys, is we're talking about this number right here. This percent chance to forge, and everybody knows that the higher level relics you use for food, the higher that percent chance is. But what most people do is they just start here with their 1 stars, and they go 4, and now I've got 6%. And then we're going to go forge, and it's going to fail. And then they keep using it until they get rid of all their 4 stars. And then they move in, or 1 stars, and then they move into their 2 stars. And then they go, okay, 2 stars. And then this is usually, all right, so now I'm gone from 16% to 13%. That's where the magic happens of what we're going to be talking about here, which is basically binomial distribution and the what happens to the numbers as you do a bunch of independent forges in succession. JJ, you wanna speak on that while I swap over to the slideshow here, bud?
So you're talking about you can't really stack percentages every time that I believe what you're referencing is every time you do a new chance. The chance for that success is the same as it was the first time. You can't stack the percent chances. So if you had an 11% chance once and 11% chance second time, it's not actually 22%. It's 11% the original each individual time. And so that's why binomial distribution is really the best
Yeah.
to look at when determining what your true success rates.
Yeah. So I actually did a little bit of a slideshow here, called it Relics Forging, why you've been doing it wrong. So what we're going to look at, what we're looking at here is we're looking at some assumptions here. We're looking at 4 relics used per attempt, 100 attempts, a total of 400 relics used, and the target relic is the level 1 4-star. All right, so baseline averages. So if you use only 1-star relics, the average success that you're going to have over 100 attempts is 6%. If you use only 2-star relics, your average success rate is 11%. Going to 3 stars, that moves you to 29% success rate. And then if you use only 4 stars, your average percent chance for success is 72%. And where that comes from, guys, is right here. If you look at this chart, across the top, you have the that is the level of the relic, and down the side you have whether it's a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, or 4-star. And as we all know, when it's a level 1, you get a higher percent than when it's a level 9. But if you average all of those out, you end up with 6, 11, 29, and 72. So that is your percent chance to forge average. So that's what we got. Now, let's talk about success rate. This is where the good numbers come in. If you're doing 1-star relics only, your chance of maxing a 4-star after 100 attempts is only 14.6%. But if you move that average percent rate from 6% to 11%, which means you're using all 2 stars, your chance to max a 4-star jumps all the way to 78.3%. So just that 5% difference in each one of the individual forges actually equates to more than a 50% chance to max the 4-star by the time you're done. Now that's assuming you're using 401 stars versus 402 stars, right?
Yep. So I think it's worth kind of taking a pause on.
Yeah, let's take a pause here and let you talk.
What I've gone to doing is I only use 2 stars with 4 stars, and I just use my 1 stars with 3 stars, because personally I find failure after failure to just induce brain damage, essentially, and so but when you try and think about, okay, what does this really mean for, okay, I'm using 2 stars to try and get my 4-star successes, because in the long run I'm going to get more levels with the same number of relics by shifting the 1 stars over to the 3 stars. Okay, so I'm getting more levels overall, getting more unlocks. I'm creating viable relics, and even though some of those 3 stars may not have the same punch as a 4-star, a level 10 3-star is just about, or maybe a little bit better than a level 2 4-star. And you can target your 4 stars with the ones that are the most strategic, because some of those you really need the 3rd unlock and it's hard to get to it.
All right, so Jim has a question. He says, wait, if you're using the same number of 1 stars as 2 stars from that slide, why use 2 stars? So
it's pretty, if you look at it, it's saying that using 100 attempts with a 1-star is only an overall 14.6% chance to max it, whereas you have an 80% chance when you use the 2-star relics.
Yeah, that's right. So what we're looking at here, guys, is we're not doing anything that's going to increase our number of successful forges, but what we're really doing is we are reducing the number of failures that we have. And that makes it yes, these are Okay, so Zalon says he used 1 stars for 3 stars, 2, 3, and 4s for 4s. Yep, that's the way we do it. So, now, moving on to 3 stars, if you only used 3 stars, then what you see is a 99.6% chance to max a 4-star relic with only 60 attempts, right? Now that's an average number. It could be 61, 62, it could happen at 57, 58, but those are averages. So, and of course, as you move up to using 4 stars for food, you're looking at an average of 84 stars to max a 4-star relic. So those are the averages of just using 1 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, and 4 stars as food for getting your relics maxed. Now, this is the actual table, guys. This is a kind of an eye chart. But the number that's important here is this is the 1-star average. So the number of attempts is down the side, and then across the top, I didn't show the number there, but you've got your levels, right? So, and then Jean-Pierre says the most successful forges I've had were by using 1 stars with a success rate of not more than 3%. That is probably recency bias at work there. Recency bias means that you remember the good stuff and not the bad stuff. The most recent thing that happened to you is more prevalent in your memory than what happened along the line to make you get there. So
there's also there's a couple other. I mean, you said it one way that I really liked, which was if you double the chance on each attempt, then what you're doing is basically doubling the number of successes you're going to have in the same number of attempts. And so if you're doing 100 attempts at a 6% chance versus 100 attempts at a 12% chance, you're probably going to get double the successes with the 12%. And so all this is just saying, going for those 1-star successes and 4 stars, I mean, you really would be better off using that for leveling 3 stars if they're useful. Now, if the only thing that you think is useful in the game is to level 4-star relics, then there's really no shortcut. And I think that kind of brings us around to how are they changing the relic forging system, and is it going to be a nerf or is it going to be a buff? And I'm hoping that if you're looking at just at 1 stars and 4 stars, they're going to shorten the runway.
Yeah, definitely. So what we're looking at here, guys, and evidently in my Excel, this is the actual chart. Okay, this is the actual relic forging success chance calculator that Prometheo developed. Now, I'm going to pump in 6%, and if you guys can tell, the 100% one here is 14.6%. That is what I get. That is the chance to max a 4-star. What I do is I never forge anything below 10%. All right. What I try to do is get it at least to 12%. All right, and at 12%, over 100 chances, I've got an 86.1% chance to max that 4-star. Right. The interesting thing is if you bump that up to 13% average, that goes up to 91.6% chance. So that is the, and what I do to do that is I use a combination of 1 stars and 2 stars to get me as close to 13% as I can. So that way I'm using a lower number of relics, I'm using less food, and my frustration level is lower because I don't have as many failures. So, JJ, what do you think about that? Does that make sense? You got any insights on this?
Sorry, but it was chopping up there for a minute. I missed the second part of that. I apologize.
No.
Internet.
What I was saying was that I'm not really increasing my number of successes, but I'm reducing my failures, reducing my relics that I have to use, and reducing the food that I have to use.
Yeah, I mean, overall, you're using math to your advantage,
yes.
right?
Yes, I'm trying
You're using the number and statistics and logic behind, instead of just throwing relics in, which there it certainly is. If you look at the bigger data, there's more intelligent ways to forge. But ultimately, if you're not putting anything in there, and like Prometeo said, if 4 stars are your only end game, there's no shortcut there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all good information, man. And I think you taught me a thing or two, because my method is just put it all in.
Well, it wasn't me. It was Prometeo, guys. Prometeo did the research on this, and he was the one that made the calculator and the spreadsheet and all that. I just thought it was pretty awesome, so I wanted to bring it out here. What's up, guys? Hey, I haven't really been paying attention to the chat because we're doing a little bit different here. But if you look at this 1 star here, right? And I'm gonna throw 4 1 stars. I get 8%, right? That's not what I want to do. I don't. Excuse me, guys. I don't want 8%. I want at least as close to 13% as I can get. Right? Mm-hmm. So there's 12, and then throw a 1 star and it gets me to 14. That right there is the forge that I will do. Because, yes, I don't have as many 2 stars to use, but I will, and if I end up with just, I'm out of 2 stars and 3 stars, and I can't get my 13% that I want, I will go and just forge my 1 stars into a 3 star. Because it makes it a little bit more sense, because some of those 3-star relics are really useful as supplemental relics to the 4 stars of the same type, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think in terms of the big strategy here, I think there's 2 really big schools of thought in how you develop your game in Dawn of Titans, and we were talking about this earlier. With Titans, you're either going across the board, same class fusion, using fusion events as much as possible, and trying to preserve every drop of XP that you can pick up, or you're thinking, well, what I really need is to protect my castle. And so I'm going to get the best Titan that I can find. I'm going to max that Titan out as fast as possible and get it on my castle. And that's going to cost you some XP to do it, but you're going to, get to that goal faster. And so when we're talking, you've been doing it wrong here, I think what we're saying is you're leaving chips on the table here by throwing all your 1 stars into 4 stars, because there are some 3-star relics that are going to match up with your 4 stars nicely. And if you can max them faster by using 1 stars there, then, save your better stuff for the 4 stars, and they're going to go quicker. It's going to feel better.
Agreed. And again, we're making these decisions based on bigger data, right? When you're looking at it and you're just talking about fusing a few, it doesn't seem like the percentages that are that big of a deal. But in the slideshow that Bo presented, he's talking about over 100 attempts, not just 1 or 2 attempts, but 100 different attempts, and that's really where your information, the good quality information, is going to come from when you're looking at that bigger data.
Yeah. So Jim's got a question here. Not sure how to say or ask this. Are the numbers for 1 relic forge session, or do the numbers remain the same if, let's say, I tried to for a 4-star at 4 different times? Jim, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you do the forges. It's just numbers over 100 attempts. The idea being that some of the myths about relic forging are, I'm going to try 5 or 6 times, and if I don't get the success, I'm going to wait later and try that. It may seem like there's a pattern there, but all the research that I've done, everybody at Natural Motion that I've talked to, all the players that I've talked to, it literally is just a random chance. It makes no difference what relics you use. It makes no difference when you do it. It makes no difference, is it the top of the hour or the bottom of the hour, or what was your last forge, was it a success or a failure? I've heard all those rumors, and it literally is a random chance to succeed. It's like rolling a die that has 100 sides. And as you increase your percent chance, you make more of those numbers on that die actually be a success. So if you can get that percent chance up to 50% and you roll that dice, you have a 50% chance of getting a number that's either above your chance or below your chance. So the idea is to get the percent chance as high as possible, but there is a point where it's kind of a tipping point, right? That 6% is a really low, like 14.6% chance to max a 4-star over 100%. But if you get it up to 11%, you jumped all the way to 76%. So you are dramatically increasing your odds over 100%. I mean, over 100 attempts, over the time span of 100 attempts. You're not doing anything to that individual forge except increasing its chance from 6 to 11. Does that make sense?
Bo, could I jump in with one more thing?
Yeah, but
the 14% chance, anyone who has taken a statistics class and knows what a bell curve looks like, or has studied, anything about that 14% chance says you're still on the right side of the bell curve when you've done 100 attempts with 1 stars on a 4-star. But these higher numbers that you're getting to, that says the bell curve is shifted over to the right so that you're already into the middle of it. And so what you really want to do is get to the point where, you're comfortable with where you are in that curve. Now, with that many 1-star attempts, you still have a good chance of having had some successes, but you're just not going to have done the relic all the way from soup to nuts.
I would totally support that. That's that's solid information.
Yeah,
and Ron was talking about Caesar 7%. Well, really, 14% is kind of the magical where you get, as Prometeo was explaining. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. There's a lot of different theories or hoaxes that it just needs to be put into perspective, right? I think I fully support the message that Bo and Prometeo have here, as far as this is sound numbers-based data. I think when we look at it as a whole, though, it's all miserable. It's going to take.
It is pretty miserable. So, Jim's asking, have we actually done this? I actually did, Jim. I did 100 attempts with 1 stars, which means I burned 400 1 stars, and I got a level 4 from level 1 to level 7, which means I had 6 successes. Now, average, I should have had between 7, and like 7.8 successes, right? Or 6.8 successes. I was a little low on there. So what we're talking about here, these are statistics, these are numbers. It's not, it's not magic, except for when you start looking at things and how it is. And yes, Zaid, you can get a fail at 80% because you have a 20% chance to fail. That's where the randomness comes in. So, but if you did 80% over 100 forges, I guarantee you would have more successes than failures, right? Prometeo says you guys couldn't hear that. He cracked the code of the whole game and you missed it. Oh. So,
hey,
all right.
One last thing before I'm going to have to jump off the boat. Say, when I read numbers on my own, and I think if they turn the forge system into basically a level 1 star, a 1 star going into level 1 4-star is like 200 XP into a 10,000 XP goal, and then use the same proportional basis of everything else, I think from my numbers, that ends up looking relatively fair. That would take about 650 relics to take a 4-star from just level 1s, to take a 4-star to max using 1-star relics. And so if they shorten the runway so that it's less than 651 stars to max a 4-star, then I say that they've done us a favor.
Yeah, so talking about going forward when they change it to a progression.
I think honestly, if they just get rid of the percentage and the opportunities for failure, I just think based on human psyche kind of information, having a forge fail is just a miserable feeling.
Yeah.
Even if it was a slow grind, the positive of seeing
seeing it move a little bit, just like when you gain XP on a Titan by doing a battle, you see it move a little bit and it makes you feel better. Well,
yeah. I mean,
it's
basically going to be the same either way, right?
Well, from what I've talked to them, their goal is not to make it harder or easier to level a relic. The goal is to reduce the frustration level and give you positive feedback instead of constantly giving you negative feedback. Forge failed, forge failed, forge failed. If you every time you forge, you get a little bit of more XP, that is at least something, and you know that you have not wasted the food or the relics. It's worth something every single time. That's the goal. So if, for instance, it takes 500 relics on average, a mix of 1 and 2 stars, to max a 4-star relic, now when they change it, if it's the same, it should still take a 500 relics. Not okay. Yeah, we'll see you, bud.
Not to mention the also potential marketability of having a relic forging festival.
That's right. We're going to have a relic forging festival, which they would increase the XP per relic instead of, reducing the food cost. I mean, when they initially had a relic forging festival, they increased the chance at one point. But when we do Titan fusing, they increase the XP. So they'll be able to increase the XP of the relics. Guys, these are literally just averages, okay? The probability of having a success or a failure on one individual forge is the percent shown for that forge. These averages, these are run across a number of attempts. Doesn't matter if they're all in one sitting or not. It's just a total number of attempts. And that's just the way statistics works, right? JJ, you want to talk about individual discrete data points versus a series of discrete data points?
How so?
You want to explain how these numbers actually get derived from, I make 10 attempts, each attempt is 50%. So you would think that my chance at the end of 10 would be 50%, but it's,
But it's not. It's
right.
It's not compounded, right?
Right.
It starts over every single time, similar to flipping a coin or similar to rolling a die. Yes. I mean, I think sorry to have you explain it, but I think you did pretty much explain it. Every time you do it, it's going to be a unique time. But when you look at it with the bigger data, right, and you plot it out with an attempt, for example, here on the slide, at 11% chance to max a 4-star relic is 80%. It's 80 overall percent, or 78.3 overall percent, and that's where kind of close to that 14 magical number. 14% is kind of the honey pot.
Yeah, 14% is what I like, and if you guys want, I'll switch to Excel real quick, and I'll put 14 in, and then we can take a look at what 14 does. Right now, I've got 13, but if your average chance to succeed is 14%, what you're looking for is this number here, right? 95%, 0.1% chance to get 9 successes over 100 tries. 9 successes will max a 4-star. That's why 14% is a really good number to use, because you have a 95% chance of getting it max. Even dropping that 14% down to 13%, you take that 95% down to 91. So if you can get in between 13 and 14, you're doing really well as far as the forging goes. And that's the way that I approach it. Now, all right, granted, this information has limited lifespan, because when they change the relic forging to a progression system, none of this matters at that point, because they've taken away the random chance. That is where you lose the downside, but you also lose the upside. The upside right now is you could get 5 successes in a row and be able to max a relic with a low number like 200 relics instead of 400. That is the upside. The downside is you can fail using 4 4-star relics on a 4-star at 80%. And that's really, really, really frustrating. Yeah. So, Doom, if your internet's good and you want to make a comment, feel free, bud. Go ahead.
Yeah, hopefully it's coming in clear, but I think my biggest take, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm just more, give me the cliff notes and I'll do what you say. But it seems like your explanation is pretty good, is that when you're looking at all these numbers, you got to think of it as, single individual attempts. So in that way, since it's not cumulative, right? Every single time you do it, you're not increasing your chances because you failed. It's individual times. What's your percentage chance of getting a forge? So if I can bump up the likelihood of each individual attempt, then that's what's going to save you in the long run. So
right.
I guess from a guy that doesn't deal well with numbers, that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. So you were nice and clear there, bud. Yeah, that 14% is my magic number. I'd understand that that's an average across my attempts. Some of them are going to be at 12, some of them are going to be at 14, like this one right here is at 18. So, because I threw a 3-star in there. The reason that I do that is I want my average to be as close to, right around 13-14%. The idea being that, and I've seen some people talking about not using 4 relics. That's really has no bearing on the percent, right? That or the number of. It doesn't matter how many relics you use to get to the 13 or 14% target. What I like to do though is I like to throw 1-stars in there and give me, so as you guys just saw, instead of a 14, I ended up with an 18. Overall, that helps me down the road, and it's also more efficient food-wise, because two 13s with 2 relics at 13% chance forging is going to cost more than 1 attempt at 18% with 4 relics food-wise. So that part of it's really up to you. Jim says, why didn't we have this a year ago? Well, we did have this a year ago, but we didn't have anybody smart enough to create a forging calculator in Excel. until Prometheus.
We didn't have
around.
Prometheus on the team.
That's right. Yet. And so anyway, so that's basically where we are. You guys that are watching, any questions? Post them in the chat, and we'll strive to answer them. Anything you want to see again, I will currently bring it up, and I'll take a look at our NTG hammer. It is currently 31st, sitting to get a level 5 yard dog, which is pretty awesome. And let's see how far we're at. 283, 50 places, 250, so we're about 33,000 souls ahead of dropping out of that top 50. So that's what we're doing. I got 23 watching. I hope this has been informative. Anything else you guys want to talk about or see while we're here, just make a comment in the chat. Clarence is on here. Clarence, we haven't heard from Clarence. How you doing there, bud? You got any comments, any thoughts?
No, I'm just learning.
Okay.
I'm gonna try this 14% rule very soon.
Yeah, don't So what I want to say to everybody is, don't think of it as I'm increasing my number of successes, because there are only 9 successes to get a 4-star maxed. What you're increasing, or what you're doing, is you're decreasing the number of failures to get through that 9 successes. And if you think of, instead of 100 failures, I'm only going to have 50 failures, I've cut my frustration level in half. That's the biggest thing. We don't need anybody rage quitting this game over Relic Forging. So just get that average percent to forge as high as you can. You'll cut your failures down. It'll seem like you're getting more successes, but what's really happening is you're getting the same number of successes over a shorter period of time. And then you can take those 1 stars, start putting them into 3 stars, and have some nice 3-star relics to help average, to help supplement your 4 stars. What's Jim? Thoroughly, you were saying you had 2647 souls to go. Oh, this is a lawn. Yeah. Hey,
You're just
Ron,
getting ragged on, Bo.
yeah, I'm getting ragged on. Why only? Ragging. So our minimum, so's the lawn. For your information, our minimum's 2,500. Okay, I have done our minimum. We may or may not get everyone to use a 1 relic to keep us in that top 50. So that's what we're doing there. But yeah, our minimum for NTG Hammer is 2,500. And I just want to point out, we're currently 2nd place in Legend League. At the end of tonight, or in 14 and a half hours, we'll be getting our 4-star Titan, which is the new pool, and 1,380 gems, which is pretty nice. So we can look forward to even if you don't finish the event, we stay on 550. We can look at a double for 4-star Titans this week. So it's pretty cool. All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, Bo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I think you said it all.
Yeah. All right, guys in the chat, anything else? Any questions? You want to see any charts again? You guys can always go back and pause the video and do a screen grab if you want to. But that's about it. So, or I should say any, not ant. I should say any questions. So there we go. Jim says he's very happy. So, all right, guys. Well, if that's it, I'm going to wrap this up. And we will catch you all next time for the non-toxic gamers. We got JJ on here, we got Doom, we got Clarence, and my name is Bo, and we will be signing off.